and welcome to probably the most requested video ever. I'm going to be trying the God tier marker that everybody sees, everybody talks about. If you haven't heard about them, how? We are finally trying Copic markers. It is finally happening. We are finally trying the most wanted and achieved status in all of marker art, Copic freaking markers. Let's try these suckers. As an artist who primarily works with watercolor, I will admit I don't have a whole lot of marker experience. I was given a set by Ohuhu. If you haven't heard about them, they are basically the cheap alternative to Copic markers. They have a chisel nib and a bullet nib, but I think what makes Copic markers so dang special is they have a brush nib. Ooh, a brush nib. What's a brush nib, you ask? Let me show you. So here is our wonderful set of 36 basic Copic Sketch markers. I got these in Japan quite a few months ago. In October, I went to Japan and I saw just how cheap they were, and I thought, you know, if I don't try them now, I will be spending an arm and a leg just to try them, so I took it as a good opportunity. They are very expensive. It depends on where or how you acquire Copic markers wherever you live, but in the US, I think depending on what website or store you go to, each individual marker is $5, $6, $7 or more dollars. Granted, they are refillable, which most alcohol marker brands don't do. So I think if you get the refills, it's a lot cheaper to put ink into your marker rather than buying a new marker every time. When I was in Japan, I saw this set, and this is a 36 basic color set, and if I divide the price, it comes to about $3.60 a marker, which is about half the price as the US price. So I decided it was now or never. I got me a set. I want to see what makes Copic markers so popular. I know the brush nib is very nice from what I hear. One thing I can appreciate about Copic markers is that they have a letter and number system, and also some pretty cool names. This is a strong red, so this is a Copic Sketch. It's an oval shape. That way, when you put your marker down, it doesn't roll away. I mean, it rolls a little bit, but because it's not a circle, it can't just go rolling away. We've got a nice unrollable shape, which is nice. And so by this gray, we can tell that this is the brush side. So we have our brush nib, and then the other side, we have our chisel nib. There it is, nice and markery. Yeah, I'm excited to try these boys out. I definitely need to swatch them because I'm sure the tops are pretty close, but I want to make sure that I have a very accurate representation of these colors. I forgot to pick up some paper while I was in Japan, but thankfully I was able to find this Copic sketchbook sort of markery paper at my local art store. Though while I was in Japan, I did remember to get these Copic Multiliners, which were 540 yen a piece, which I think is about $4.70 US. So there you go. I'll be using these to play around. Let's make an illustration. But first, let's swatch because I love swatching new art supplies. So not only do I have this 36 basic set of Copic markers that I'm going to swatch, but I've also got these Copic Colors of the month of March that I'm going to swatch that they sent to me. So thank you to Copic. With that, let's get to swatching. So I'm just going to lay a basic line down with these just to see what the one color looks like. And then I'm also going to do a second line where I keep adding color. And you know what I just realized? Oh my God, okay. So I have this Copic sketchbook, right? So I thought it would be fun. So you have like your first page, and I know you're not supposed to draw on the back of these pages because of the way it's coded, so it doesn't bleed through. Do you see what I did there? I know it's best not to draw on the back of them, but for the sake of having like a spread of my swatches, I thought it would be nice. Are you catching on to what I did aside from that? Yeah, we're upside down. Yep, I did it upside down. You know, this is the front of the book. You open it, here are my swatches, but you gotta turn it around. Big idiot over here. Also, like I said, I just love the names of these colors. I just think it's so fun to have names with them. It's just the small details like that that separates a professional marker like Copic from something like a cheaper alternative. So here's sort of a strange observation that I noticed while using these. Usually while watching something like a Copic marker review, people talk about how saturated colors are something that really pops out with really good quality markers. I guess because maybe a really good pigment costs more, or it's just, you know, it takes more materials to make a nice pigmented color. But something that I've noticed about these Copic markers is that these more paler pastel colors are really nice. And it just kind of makes me wonder, with cheaper alcohol marker alternatives, maybe it's harder to get that really nice pale pastel color, and it's a lot easier to just really blow people away with a crazy color. Now, I don't know anything about products or costs or pigments or anything, so I absolutely do not know what I'm talking about. But I kind of feel like these pastel and lighter colors are actually really nice, and I feel like will be quite a joy, I guess, to layer with other colors. And it's just something I noticed. Honestly, that's kind of why I really like watercolors, or at least it's one of the reasons. You can have just a few tubes and achieve all of this. All you need is a red, a yellow, a blue, and a brown and a black with watercolor, and you can get all of this just by watering it down and mixing your own colors. I think watercolors are just really cool in that sense that you can do a lot with a little, whereas with alcohol markers, I feel like you only got what you got and there's not too much mixing you can do. I'm sure you can layer some things, but with watercolor, it's just so much easier to mix your own colors to achieve different things. Okay, I don't know why I'm even swatching the colorless blender. I guess for laughs. Kind of a goof, but yep, I did just swatch the colorless blender. Had to make sure that it was colorless, right? Swatching is fun. I had a lot of fun swatching the colors, but you can't tell everything about the marker by just swatching. We need to try to blend colors. We need to try to shade and do other things with these markers. So let's get to creating an illustration and see how these puppies work. Are they worth the $7 per marker price? Let's find out. All right, let's get to sketching. I'm going to figure out what I want to draw because I don't know what I want to draw yet. So let's just sketch some things, see what happens, and figure this out. Really quick, let's actually just put down some straight ink and see if we can't get a hatch doodle in. Let's just practice mixing colors with the Copics and see what happens. Yeah, that's right. I'm drawing an ant. Why not, right? Maybe like a mushroom character or something. Because we do have a nice red color, some light yellows, some peachy colors that could definitely be used for a mushroom. Purple might even be nice to shade with. Okay, I'm actually going to stop there with the dog. I think I'm super into the mushroom guy, so I'm going to erase the pencil marks and then kind of mock up some colors just to test what I want to do, and then we will get to creating an actual illustration to test these Copics. Let's see if I can mix a nice hatch color. So I'm going to use this light blue And then I'm going to put a purple on top. Being able to mix colors, I think, is a good option. So I'm glad it worked fairly well. I like how that purple interacted with both the blue and the white. I approve. I say let's do a little mushroom guy. I'm feeling this mushroom guy, so let's get a bigger piece of paper and go forward with him. Okay, here is our piece of paper. Let's get to sketching. Basically, I'm just doing a very simple illustration so that I can test, I guess, the blending of these markers. I'm not really looking for a very complicated illustration. I'm just looking for technical stuff with the markers. He's got a little booty. He's got like a classic mushroom shape, even though he's kind of like a humanoid mushroom. He's got like a mushroom shape with legs, so that is our character. I think I'm going to leave the eyes white so that I can color the eyes with the markers instead of just making them black. I think that would be fun. So that's what I'm going to do. All right, so we have our little mushroom dude. Let's erase the pencil marks and then get to coloring. Starting off with the red, unlike with the sketch, I do want to do a red mushroom. I did have like that pink, more pink light red color, but in the end I thought that shading with the purple would look a lot better than just using a darker red color, so let's do it. Oh, already going outside of the lines. And noticing just how squeaky these markers are. What the heck? They're so squeaky. I will say though, to compare Copic to other brands, the brush nib really does feel a lot better than something like the bullet nib or especially the chisel nib. It's just so clunky. I feel like with the brush nib, you definitely have option of going really thin with the tip or really thick by putting down the whole brush nib. So that alone is a very, very obvious feel, quality feel to these markers. And the brush nib itself does feel very nice. It feels of quality, especially if these markers are refillable. I feel like that alone means that the brush nib is not going to wear down really quickly. It's not going to fall apart. Also, the Copic liners aren't the focus of this video, but I do feel like the Copic liners are definitely interacting with the markers a lot better than something like my microns because it's not smearing, and I just put the line art down not too long ago. Let's put some purple in this mouth just to create a little purpley red mouth. I do like a more purple red color for the darker mouth. All right, so we're getting to the point where I want there to be no color. So I'm going to do fewer and fewer strokes, and let's see if we can't grab the colorless blender and get a really nice even blend of nothing to white. I think as far as I know with markers, you just keep stacking the same blues together, if I'm not mistaken. Because like I said, the colorless blender isn't actually used to blend things. Oh boy, it's so confusing. That looks pretty good though, right? I think, maybe not. This is why I wanted to wait until I really knew how to use alcohol markers before I got into Copics, because I didn't know what I was doing. And I thought it would be better if I knew what I was doing with alcohol markers before I dove into Copics. I have to admit, this was probably the easiest gradient experience I've ever had with alcohol markers. So yeah, you can definitely tell the quality difference when you pay more for a marker. So we're gonna start off really light, and then we'll start working with some darker blues to get darker tone. Oh wow, I absolutely love this blue and green together. It looks so dang good. And because it is my signature, let's add some birds in the background just for a little extra something. Overall, I do have to say I am quite impressed with the blending you can do with these Copic markers. The colors look so good together, especially those greens and blues and the grass. I don't know. The brush nib I thought was overrated, but it felt really good. Look at these colors. They're pretty nice. Are they worth it? I don't know. It's hard to say as someone who loves watercolor, and I don't know that I'm in any rush to ditch watercolor for alcohol markers, no matter how expensive or worth it I think they are. I just feel like I like watercolors. I'm a watercolor person, but these were pretty nice. They were very high quality. They had some nice colors. They blended well. The brush nib did felt good. Felt good. So overall, I would say, yeah, I guess I do understand why people love Copics as much as they do. I'm not going to change to Copics anytime soon, but they're pretty nice. All right, thanks so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.